Alright, second boss. Probably hardest boss of this fight. Or this Criterion. So I'm just gonna take some time to explain some mechanics and then I hope they can clarify some of it. Alright, Far From Heaven. What this means is that the first limit cut, I'm limit cut 2 in this case, will be a donut, while the second limit cut will be a dynamo. Now you also see a sword hovering around the boss. That means that the person with a flare will get jumped on by the boss, but they have to be alone and not near anyone else. So you can see the flare marker moving out north. We just have the 1 and 2 stacks because they don't really care. So it was a donut first. The melee moves out because he had the sword, and then the 2 has the thing. You can just clip people with this. This is okay. It's just extra healing work for the healer. You can also move it out from the group, so you have less shit to heal. But this makes it a bit easy, I guess, to resolve. Alright, here I want to showcase another variation. Instead of Far From Heaven, you can have Near to Heaven. For the pattern, it works a bit differently. So instead of the 1 being the donut, the 1 will be the dynamo. But it's still kind of similar how you resolve the mechanic. So in this case, I have the 2, so 1 is the dynamo, 2 is the donut. There's 1 sword, so the flare marker is alone. So 1 is the dynamo, so you can see the 1 being away. We're just kind of YOLOing it in this case. And then I just like kind of sidestep in a bit. It was a bit too close, but yeah. This is one of the patterns that we had where it was near first on the first mech. We've had way too many other patterns where it was far. Then I want to also showcase another version where you can maybe solve it a bit more statically with like markers, so the positioning is a bit less tight. I'll showcase that now. Another setup you could do is where you have like these setup markers, right, like near the middle of the arena, and then you can have the donut always stand on delta, while the dynamo goes out on C, and then the flare goes on A. That could also work. So in this case, Far From Heaven means donut is 1, deformation is 2, 1 sword, so the melee will go towards A here alone, while the rest stack. And I will move out as the donut occurs. You can also do it like this. There's another way to like think about it, but there's multiple ways to solve these, of course. Alright, let's move on to later mechanics. Alright, this section we got some stuff you might be familiar with already from previous Criterions. Here we partner up with our guys that have the same pattern as us, so me with the range in this case, and then we take each other's thing. So I got a tether. Now the range takes my tether, and then I have to resolve my blade that's coming towards me such that it cleaves the side that's open, like I did here. You see me adjust. There we go. It's not too bad of a mechanic. Echoing orbit, this can also be echoing 8. You just spawn puddles on your location, and then they will do either a donut or a star cleave. If it's orbit, that's a donut. If it's 8, then it's a star cleave. You just either like go back in or you move further out. In this case, we go back in. Alright, this you just like dodge, like where the things disappear. You can dodge this anywhere, as you can see here. Now it's near to heaven. Now it's the different from last time, right? So 1 is the dynamo, so you preferably want to be away from 1, and then 2 is the donut. In this case it's 1 sword, so the range is alone. So it's away, and then the 2 moves in a bit with the donut. Not too bad. Silent 8, these are the basically the things that we could have gotten earlier, but this is the star AoEs, but we have to spread them around, so we just drop them in the corner. Now pop sprint for this, or dash, because otherwise you can't really dodge this, or it's a bit harder. Now Maw of the Wolf is just a kick, like in Heavyweight M4S, just go behind. Then there's going to be a stack. This hits for 3 times. Mitigate this, and then try to overlap the mids with the raid wide that comes after. Which happens here. Malefic quartering is the same thing, where we get like open sides, right? For me, north and south are open. Same for the melee. I just picked this side to stand in. You can have like the range go on the southern side or melee's north. Kind of just pre-position, and then body language can position like this. What I'm trying to see is whether this next part can be resolved or not. So in this case, you can see I have a blade coming from south, and then it goes towards me here. I don't want this, right? Because it's gonna clip me here. You can see it. This section is gonna clip me. This is not good. So what I do is I say to my melee, hey, let's swap positions. So I want to be there, and then the melee will come to this position. Now, what you can also say is like, we can also just have the melee stay there, and then I join him on that side. It's a very tight position, but you can make it work. It's just something that you don't have to do, because you can also just say, oh, let's just swap like this. Don't have to dash, you can also just run. That's also fine. But now you can see this is like stretching all the way, and it like resolves it, right? There we go. Hits very hard. Now it's near to heaven, so 1 will be the dynamo, 2 will be the donut, and it's 2 swords. So the person with the flare needs to have a partner. So I'm moving. Oh, yep. The sword guy could have just stacked on the 2. So, but here it is. The donuts happen second. Happens all very fast, so you gotta be like very quick judgments. Now it's another set of blades. This time it's 2 sides. You can pan your camera towards the side where you have to get hit by, so you can see, oh, I see my blades, I want to be like on this side. Oh, but there's a Maw of the Wolf, so we gotta go behind it first. Dodge the kick. Then we kill this. Then I go rotate towards the new one that I need to get hit by. Then I go diagonally across, because I want to get hit by these 2. And then we all get tethers. And you see that one of my sides is going to get filled again. So I want to pre-position for this side, so that the one remaining side that is open for me will be cleaved by this blade. So you get cleaved 3 times, then one side will get filled. You get hit by 1 blade, and then the boss itself will do 1 as well. This is always static. This cleave from the boss, so you just have to position to whatever is open for you. Another 3-hit stack into a raid wide. Very hard hitting shit. Like, healers beware. This shit is like probably the hardest healer check in this whole Criterion. Because now we have a meteor spawning. We want to go to the other side of where the meteor is, of course. We stand over here. Then we get chains. We walk back to the center. Then we want to stretch these chains away from each other. And then you have Echoing 8. Remember what Echoing 8 was? It was a star pattern puddle, right? We drop these in the corners. This is always Echoing 8, by the way. Because after this, you dodge to the side near the rocks. Because you don't want to hit these rocks with them. By the way, if you move in the sand and the rock, it will insta-kill you. So you don't want to be too close to the rock either. And then we have something that I will show you next. Alright, let's showcase this last mechanic real quick, just to give an idea of how it would look like if you don't have like good deeps or you fuck up a bit. What I like to do is I just show my open side again and pan my camera that way. I see this blade that I want to get hit by, so I go to this rock, because it's in the same column, right? I see the blade on the right side. I go behind the rock like that, and then I'm fine. And then I see it's the same like blade coming from here again, right? So I just stay next to this rock, go to the other side. Now the blade spawns in the other column, so I go to the other rock, go on this side, and then to the other side, because the blade spawns on the same side again. But sometimes it can happen that you have to like swap to the other rock immediately, and then you have to swap back, and then swap again. It can be a bit cursed. So depending on how comfy you are, like you might also just prefer to like look at the arrows that are on the ground, right? Especially if you're playing on controller, it might be hard to pan your camera in time. That's why some people died here, because they're playing on controller. It's a bit annoying. But if you have good deeps and not a lot of depths, then usually you can skip that mech, so it's not too big of a deal. But now it's just a raid wide, and then it's another stack, and then it's in rage. So that's the second boss. Yeah, thank you for watching. I hope this kind of clarified some stuff. Again, for some visual guides, you can look at the paste bin if you want some like raid plans and stuff. But in the meantime, we'll move on to the third boss, which is not too bad. So I'll see you in that video. Thank you for watching.